Welcome back to another Odyssey 40k video. In this one we're going to check out the LVO and the top 5 ranked players in the ITC and what lists they decided to bring to this event. So without further ado, let's crack into it. So the first player we're going to be talking about today is Derek Apsche. I think he's ranked 7 in the ITC right now. Rank 6 and 5th weren't in attendance at LVO this year, so Derek is the next best up. I believe he has his own YouTube channel as well, which you should go check out. I think it's 40k Dirtbags. I think he does some really good content on there, really chaos focused. So if you want some more chaos content, he will be a great guy to go and check out. Also believe he is on the American team for WTC this year, or he's on the greater team for it at least. So yeah, definitely go check him out. He definitely knows his stuff, and I'm really interested to see what he's bringing this year. Okay, so let's get into the list. So we got Chaos Space Marines, Strike Force, Chaos Cults. Okay, so Chaos Cults. So we've got Cypher, pretty much obligatory in every single list. Having that 12-inch stretch cost 1 more is just so huge. Sometimes you can't interrupt. Sometimes you won't AOC. You won't be able to do that reactive move or something like that. So really important to have. I think any list that has a Vect effect should really be considering why they're not taking it. Otherwise, you should just probably take it. Then we have Dark Apostle and 2 Dark Communes. The Dark Apostle has the Amulet of Vigor, which is, I think, bring back D3 models attached. So you can do a really cool trick here where you have one model towed out into an objective, the unit gets shot at, then you kill the model that's in line of sight, and then you can regrow back onto the objective. Especially on Games Workshop formats, there's a lot of terrain where you have to be in the open to hold the objective, but you can be right behind the objective in cover, like completely hidden. So it's a really nice little trick you can do there with that little setup. And then 2 Dark Communes we have here. So one of them has the plus strength enhancement, the other one has the scouts. So really makes sense. If you attach the Dark Commune to a Cursed Cultist brick, it loses scouts because the Dark Commune doesn't get it, so Warped Foresight just gives that back to you. I'm pretty sure that's what that one does. Fabius Bile, that's a really interesting include. I guess he gives the plus strength and toughness to a unit, so it just makes him a bit more durable, a bit more annoying to get through. So, interesting pick there. I would like to see how that plays for him. Hopefully he gets on stream. I think Wargames Live and I think a couple of other people are streaming at LVO this year. I'm going to be watching it this weekend, so if you're around, I'd be happy to talk about the games as they go along. Then we have 4 cultist mobs, all 10-mans. Just good chaff. Like in Chaos Cults, you get that extra move. You're faster, you hit harder than you should. Yep, exactly what you'd expect. Then 6 Trader Guardsmen. Now, I believe the reason you take Trader Guardsmen here is they actually have better guns, so you can actually use the strats on them slightly better because you get a Flamer, Melter Gun, and a Plasma Gun, plus the power weapon on the Sergeant, and a Corrupted Pistol, whatever the heck that does. But yeah, so I think you just get a bit hard hitting of a unit, and you can always use the strats to give them plus AP and strength, I believe. So really nice units there. Again, just so much board control with a list like this. These kind of lists, especially in the singles events, because you only need to win by a point or 5 points realistically, because you really want to make sure you have a little bit of a buffer, is you can lock down your primary for an entire game and then just try and deny your opponent's primary once or twice, and then you're up by 2 lots of primary, which often is 8 to 10 points. If you can do that and keep consistent on secondaries for the entire game, you're going to win that game. So I think that's really the style of this. You have some pressure pieces. I'm assuming there's 3 units of Accursed Cultists, all max size, to go with the 2 Dark Communes and the what's it called? The Dark Apostle. That's the one. Sorry about that. And yeah, so they'll be attached to those to give them those extra damage from the Dark Communes and the extra bit of utility from the Dark Apostle there. Then as allies, we have a unit of Demonettes, which I believe is, just so you can unlock Celeste. So Celeste and Demonettes is a pretty hard-hitting unit. Also gives you access to a rapid ingress that can deep strike, so it can rapid ingress from anywhere on the board, whereas the Accursed Cultists one of them will probably be rapid ingressing as well, but it'll have to do it from a board edge. So it's a bit more known by your opponent where they're going to be. but still really powerful. But I really like the Demonettes and Celeste. They hit way harder than they should, especially with full wound rerolls. You end up doing quite a few devastating wounds and mortals with that combo, and Celeste just hits harder on her own. And then 3 Nurglings, because it's kind of like, if you're playing singles, why not take Nurglings if you're playing Chaos? Because having a unit that infiltrates for 40 points also gives a -1 to hit aura is just value for points. And sadly, they can't do any actions, but that is really worth it. But yeah, I think that's kind of what this list is trying to do. It's just trying to control the board, stop your opponent from doing anything too crazy, because well, if you come at me, I can kill you. And then just deny those primaries a couple of times, lock down their primary as hard as they can. And yeah, try and win games that way, I think. You also have, if your opponent messes up with a list like this and overextends a little, and you can get hit by 2 or 3 of these units at once, especially 2 or 3 AC/DC bricks in the same turn. I played the AC/DC bricks when they were silly busted. And the damage that they can do, and this detachment they can do even more damage, is just absolutely absurd. Like, you really don't underestimate how much damage with +1 to hit, +1 to wound, full hit and wound rerolls that these units can do. It's absolutely absurd. So yeah, so that is Derek's list. Really cool. Really wish him all the best for this tournament. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he performs. And yeah, so on to the next one. We have Kyle Grundy and his Ret Cadra Tau list, Tau Empire list. Awesome. Well, I play a lot of Tau, so hopefully I'll be able to do this one a lot more justice than the Chaos Cults list. So what do we have here? We have Commander Farsight, very good. Cool, gives the +1 to wound within 9 inches. 2 Cold Stars, 1 with Eternal Grenadier, totally makes sense. Doing those Plink mortals is just awesome. And then a Cold Star with Prototype Weapon System. I'm assuming he had a couple of points left over. It's not a bad enhancement, don't get me wrong, but just being able to get sustained or lethal hits on your commander is just really nice. Then he has 2 Enforcer commanders, one with Starflare, which is the go back into reserves at the end of your opponent's turn, the uppy downy, as it's called now. Cool, yeah, okay, so 5 commanders. Okay, let's see what's he got for everything else. No battle line whatsoever, so no breaches, no devilfish. He's just got 2 units of 2 broadsides with rail rifles and rail rifles. Yep, so all rail rifles, really gun heavy on these. So this will be his main anti-tank, I would assume, because he must have been feeling that he didn't have enough anti-tank in the list. And I know Sunforge list, which I'm assuming we'll see some units of Sunforge lower down, they can be quite inconsistent, and broadsides, just from range, they might not kill something every turn, but they'll shoot for more turns of a game than a Sunforge unit will. You'll be able to drop 1 Sunforge down and then shoot and then fire and fade for 1 CP, but with the if you have a second unit, or the second time you do it, they might just get shot, or there might not be anywhere safe that you can fire and fade to. It can make them really tricky to use sometimes, whereas the broadsides hold an angle, they hold that line, so your opponent's like, well, I can't come past this line because the broadsides will shoot me. So a really nice little bit of utility there. Then we have 2 fire knives, 1 with missile pods, 1 with plasma rifles. I really actually like these at the moment. They're the native full rerolls to hit if you're shooting at something above half strength. Really nice to do. 1 unit of missiles just for a bit more volume, 1 unit of plasma, because 3 damage at the moment is an absolute premium. There is so many 3 wound models at the moment that you want to kill. So that 3 damage from the plasma rifles will really come in handy. Really good utility pick to have one option of both. You will see this with a lot of actually higher level players, is they won't just spam 1 unit too much, or even if it is 1 unit, they'll change the war gear potentially within the unit. And this is because they want to have more tools available. They don't need to really win 1 matchup. They need to win all their matchups by a little bit. So by spreading out your units and spreading out the war gear options you take, you can actually, depending on what you're struggling into, fine-tuning this slightly to be better into some matchups. So really cool choice there. Then we have 1 Star Scythe unit with burst cannons. So I'm assuming this is going to get the, I think it's Oricon Protocols strat used on it, which is the sustained hits, or sustained hits 2 if it's a unit of 10 or more. So really nice little unit there that goes with the Cold Star that has the burst cannons, I would assume. Getting the extra AP there is also really nice. And then 2 Sunforge units. Yep, makes sense. So you have a really good anti-tank base here with the 2 units of 2 broadsides and the 2 units of Sunforge. Really heavy on the anti-tank, but also just quite good into like Terminator equivalents, the kind of tougher units at the moment. It's like, again, another way of getting through 3 or more damage is get within melter range and just shoot some fusion blasters at your opponent. So it's another good option there. And also the invulnerable save does make them slightly more durable. Then we have 2 units of Crude Carnivores, good, sticky objectives, scout, stealth, slightly more annoying to kill than you'd like them to be, just good all around units. 1 Pathfinder team with a recon drone, so infiltrate, so you can block out your opponent's scouts if you need to. Then you can also scout back still, and just a double guide for when you really need those guides going off. Really nice. 1, 2, 3 stealth teams. Everyone knows what stealth teams do at this point. Just really good. You have to have a very valid reason not to take 3 units of them. And then a unit of vested stingwings for some more uppy downy and mission play. Really clean list here by Kyle. Like, he's obviously, if you don't know, Kyle Grundy is, I think he was part of Team England last year. I think he was on the coaching team. And he also runs the Pure Type program, which is a coaching service for aspiring Tau players. So go give Pure Type program a shout out if you are interested in upgrading your Tau skills, I suppose. He seems he's a really onto it guy, really knows his stuff about Tau, and I think he's 4th in the world at ITC, and he's only played Tau, so really must know his stuff very well to be doing so well with them. So go give him a check out if you want to upgrade your Tau knowledge. Anyway, let's go on to the next list. We have Nassim and his Astra Militarum Bridgehead Strike Force. So this is the new Grotmist attachment for Astra Militarum. This is pre-book. Obviously, the book hasn't been released yet. We've had all the spoilers and everything for it, but the book hasn't come out yet. So this is still Index Astra Militarum with the Grotmist attachment. So what do we have here? We have a Tempestus Command Squad, 3 of those. One of them has the Bombast class Fox array. Then we have 2 tank commanders with demolisher cannons, very, very standard. Ursula Creed for the CP reduction. 2 units of Kedishin jungle fighters, and one infantry squad. Kedishin jungle fighters are really great, like primary denial pieces with the scout at the beginning of the game. And then just being able to pressure that primary, dumping a bunch of OC, being able to be moved 9 with move, just really versatile units here. And then an infantry squad probably gets attached to Ursula Creed, I would assume. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 Tempestus Scion squads, absolutely insane. These guys do so much damage in this detachment. It is crazy what they can pull off. Like, with the... yeah... They always kill more than you expect, so really watch out for these. And with the 6-inch drop, it makes it harder to screen. It means that things like infiltrators and anything that has that 12-inch you can't deep strike closer than becomes so much more important. I know it's not 3 inches anymore than a lot of those stratagems and abilities used to be. 6 inches is still very good. Yes, you don't get melter range on your melter guns anymore, which does hurt a little. But you just get so many special weapons that you're killing 5 to 10 Marines with each of these units when they drop down. And screening 6 inches, you're screening with actual units by the time that you screen your entire army with units. It's really hard to screen from this unless you have those 12-inch no-go units. So we have those, then 2 Taurox and a Taurox Prime. Some nice transports. I know if you get out of them, you still get the bridgehead bonuses when you drop out of Taurox. So I think it's another way of being able to implement the abilities from bridgehead. Really nice little bit of tech there. Also really cheap, 65 points for a transport, 90 points for the upgraded version. Really nice, really nice. Field ordnance batteries for some indirect, and then 2 heavy weapon squads. So the reason for this is you want to be able to kill those infiltrator style units. So these, on turns 1 and 2, kill all your opponent's screens. Then your Scions can drop down wherever they want and really start hurting your opponent. So Really interesting bit of tech here. Indirect is kind of coming back a little bit because of this stuff, because you need to also be able to kill your opponent's indirect. So it kind of becomes a bit of an indirect war. Whenever indirect is good, it kind of becomes one of these things that everyone that can take indirect starts to take indirect a bit more, just to kind of deal with it a bit. Okay, so then after that we have an on-grid squad, which again, nice little bit of utility, can, has some decent heavy boulder shots, goes on to a point, holds it for a little bit, nice little 60-point trading unit as well, really nice there. And then an Aquilons unit, so it means you can deep strike 6 inches in 2 places 1 turn, because you can do it with the Aquilons, because it's their datasheet ability, and you can do it with the Bridgehead Strat again. Very cool list, really interesting. I know he did very well at Nottingham the other weekend. I wonder how similar this list is to his Nottingham list. I wonder if he's tweaked a couple of things, because I think he got to play Nottingham before he submitted this list, so I think it means he could have done any tweaks that he wanted to. But really cool list here. I do really, really like the look of these lists on the board as well. They feel like a real army. They feel like a Scion's drop army. You have a bit of that force on the ground, your foot troops, a couple of tanks, a couple of transports, and then you have these drop shoots coming in to be in these surgical units to go and kill things. It's a really well done detachment. If anything, maybe a little overtuned. It's a bit strong with all the orders and everything that you could give guard. But really, really cool list. Really wish the best for Nassim. I think he's gone to LVO 2 or 3 times now, and I think he's done well every time. So hopefully you see him in the top 8. And yeah, best of luck to him. On to the next. We have Josh Roberts and his Ultras Ultras list. LVO Ultras. I love the names of some of these lists. Some of them are really basic and other of them have really funny names. So very, very just, yep, this is it. Okay, LVO Ultras list. Beautiful. It's a Space Marine, Ultramarines, Gladius Task Force. Pretty obvious. It's very strong. Captain and Gravis with Artificer armor. I think this guy's just way too durable for his points, and he's just a good little problem solver piece that you can throw at your opponent. He halves damage, he hits harder than he should. You can use all the Gladius strats on him. It's just, yep, really nice piece there. Lieutenant with combi weapon for one's on an objective of your choice at the start of the game, and just a lone op that has a native reactive move. Really, really good. Calgar and Gilliman, so that's it's a lot of points. But I'm not saying that it's wrong. The amount of CP that you gain from these two together is absolutely atrocious. Gilliman gives you a free strat every turn, so that's 2 per round, and then Calgar gives you your extra CP every turn. So you're getting 15 CP per game plus 10 rebates, free strats. So that's 25 CP you effectively have access to in a game, and all of the strats Gladius Task Force have are very good. So really powerful combo these two have, though not cheap. They both hit really hard in combat. They both have some decent little bit of shooting, but it is an expensive combo. Also, Gilliman does give the double oath or extra OC when you need it as well, so really cool toolbox that you have here. Then we have Battle Line, which have 1 Assault Intercessor squad with the Power Fist and Hand Flamer. Makes total sense. Then we have Ballistus Dread, 2 Ballistus Dreads. Really nice that these guys don't need Oath of Moment to do what they need to. They do like the +1 to wound that Ultramarines get with their Oath of Moments, but they don't need it, because if they're shooting at something above half strength, they get full hit rerolls. So you can use your Oath of Moments on something that might be later down that really needs it, and then these guys can just act more independently, which is really quite nice. Company of Heroes to go with Calgar, I'd assume. Then you have the Gladiator Reaper, just really good at the moment, with all the infantry-based armies at the moment, especially. Derek will not want to see a Gladiator Reaper against him if he plays against that. This thing just absolutely eats infantry, especially with the +1 to wound and full hit rerolls from Oath. You can make it AP2, you can make it AP1, ignores cover as well, so it just really chews through infantry and Gladius. So really nice little piece there. An Incurse unit to give something +1 to hit. The Haywire Bomb that it has, the Haywire Mine, that it has, it's also a really nice tool to deal with units that get back come back to life, like Fugan or Venerable Dreads, stuff like that, because you can kill them in the shooting phase, and at the start of the charge or the fight phase, you can just pop your mine and then hopefully kill them depending on how many wounds they come back with. It's more consistent on vehicles than it is other things because it's D3 plus 2D instead of 2D3. But really nice little unit. It also has scouts, gives you some board presence, really nice. As I alluded to earlier, infiltrators, I think if you're playing Space Marines at the moment, you just have to take infiltrators. It's just hard not to say no to them, to be fair. Like with the Bridgehead, with stuff like the Grundy's Retaliation Cadre, just that 6-inch drop is still really powerful, so being able to push it back, keep your stuff alive for more of the game, just really important to do. Then, not so elegant, 3 Vindicators. Very good. Like, Vindicators are incredibly good. They really love Oaths, being able to wound anything in the game on 2s with that decent AP. They love the Storm of Fire strat. They love being able to advance or fall back and shoot. Everything in Gladius just really sings to Vindicators. I'm not the biggest fan of them just because of the random number of shots. You can, on the turn that you need them to hit, they can just roll that 1 or 2 of number of shots. You're getting 4 or 5 shots. And it can just, you miss with 2, even with Oath. You can really start to feel the number of shots. Whereas if you use something a bit more consistent, you can maybe get slightly less shots on than the Vindicator can do, but you get a more consistent, your guaranteed number of shots is really nice. But Josh Roberts is one of the best players in the world, if not probably one of the greatest of all time, so I am not going to try and pretend that I know better than him. My own personal bias is I roll bad on random number of shot weapons, so I have a little bit of personal bias. But yeah, really awesome list. There's not a whole lot in this list, to be fair. There's no jump pack intercessors, which is really interesting. It's just Vindicators, a couple of Dreadnoughts, Calguard, Gilliman, a couple of other unit models, and that's really the list. Like, it's really lean, but it's got some incredible firepower in it. And it's got, with Gladius, you just have access to a great complement of strats. I wish Josh Robert the best. I think this is a really awesome list. Ultramarines probably shouldn't get the +1 to wound with Oath because Gilliman gives double Oath. Makes it maybe a bit too strong, but really interesting. Really like to see how the list performs, and hopefully he does really well. On to the last list. We have Innes Wilson. And yeah, so here we go. Nottingham Desolation Marines V3. I can't even remember the last time I plunged. I think he's referring to plunging fire, because if you put Desolation Marines on the top floor of the WTC or UKTC ruins, they get plunging fire because it's above 6 inches. So because they natively ignores cover if they don't move, you get ignores cover AP1 on those Castellan launchers and AP2 on the Bengal launcher, which makes them really, really good. But I don't believe this list actually has any Desolation Marines in it. I think that's just a bit of a joke saying that I got to play at least one tournament with Desolation Marines, because I know he's been a big proponent of playing them every once in a while. Anyway, let's get to his list. So he's playing Space Marines, Blood Angels, Liberator Assault Group, and I'll say this now, he's taking no Blood Angels units. He is just taking it because he wants the +2 strength, +1 attack, and the strats from Liberator Assault Group, but he didn't want to give up the +1 to wound from taking supplemented units, so Blood Angels, Death Watch, whatever models, because you still get the +1 to wound in the detachment as long as you don't take any of the models from the supplement range. Whether that's how it should work or not doesn't matter. He got an FAQ, there's an FAQ for it, and it is said to work this way for LVO, so that's just what it is, and he's doing what he can with it. So let's get into this list. So we got 2 captains, one with Gift of Foresight, which is, I think, change a die to a 6 once per battle round, and then a captain with Rage Fueled Warrior, which is, I believe, the sustained hits 3 on his melee weapons, so he just hits like an absolute truck. Then we have a Librarian and Phobos armor, so he'll be going with an Infiltrator unit to give them Lone Op. So that's how you really break the indirect and the Bridgehead matchup, is you have the Librarian and Phobos armor with Infiltrators, so you have the 12-inch no-go zone, and they can't drop and kill the Infiltrators either. It's a good combo to have. 170 points isn't the cheapest just for pure utility, but if it's a loss condition that if they get into your lines you can lose the game, 70 extra points on top of an infiltrator squad that you're already taking to make them kind of invincible in a matchup, pretty awesome, pretty good, very good. Then, so for Battleline, we have 1 Assault Intercessor squad, 2 Intercessor squads. I feel like this is even more with the Intercessor squads. Like, the extra shots that they got from the update was really nice, but the sticky objectives, I feel like it's just another indirect piece. Like, well, okay, like, you can shoot me off by home field, but it's going to be sticky by the time you do that. So then he's still holding his home field, also being able to send one off onto a side objective to then sticky it so you can pressure forwards. This is just a really nice thing to be able to do. And then Assault Intercessors, I'm assuming one of those goes with one of the captains, probably the Rage-Fueled Warrior one to give him full wound rerolls if he charges something on an objective. Is really nice, good little combo there. Then we have 2 Impulses, so that'll probably be for either Intercessors, Assault Intercessors, or I think there's potentially some Sternguard veterans below. So the Impulses will be filled with something. Then we have 1, 2, 3 units of jumping intercessors. Just really good data sheets. The mortals on the charge, being able to throw a grenade and then mortals for an average of 5 to 6 mortals before you even hit is just really, really strong. And this detachment, you can also give them lance or lethal or both if you battle shock. There's an advance and charge strat. You have access to just a lot. The extra attacks and the extra strength really push them like quite high. The Power Fist goes to strength 10. The chainsaws are strength 6 with 4 attacks each. Like, you really hit hard with these little 90-point units in this. So I think the idea of Innes's list here is just to really, every unit punches up, and you can, with CP investment as well, punch them up even higher. And especially with the +1 to wound from Oath, you can really hit things hard if you want to without spending too many points on it. Like a 90-point JPR squad with, say, 2 CP, 1 for Lance and 1 for grenades, does 5 mortals and then charges with Lance and pretty winning everything on the game on 4s or 3s. Really, really strong, really strong. And you're only sacrificing a 90-point unit and a couple of CP. Next we have 2 Ballista Dreads, very similar to Josh Roberts' list here. Just, again, don't need the Oath assistance, so they can kind of just do their own thing. Just good anti-tank as well. I think Innes lost the final against Legions of Excess at Nottingham. So I think maybe these were a piece added in to have some extra firepower into those Keeper of Secret style models. Just the rerolls are really nice into them, and just having some extra high damage shots I think is just really important for those kind of matchups. 2 Infiltrator squads. So he has the Phobos Librarian and 2 Infiltrator units. So that's how much he's pushing that the indirect and the drop down, the 6-inch drops are really impactful for his list. And he's like, okay, this is really interesting. This is one thing I want to go into for a little bit here, is understanding your army, what you need to have your army function, how you want it to function, and then how many points do you invest in specific matchups. Because infiltrators, they're just a good action unit, right? If you're paying 80 points for Incursors, Reavers, or 70 points for Scouts, how much more is it to invest into infiltrators to have that extra no-go zone if it really helps your play patterns for your game? It really helps in your poor matchups, or makes what could be an iffy matchup into a bit more of a favourable matchup. So it's really interesting to see what he's done here and how he can kind of figure his list out to really hit home those kind of things. Then we have 1 Reaver unit, really nice with the grab shoot so they can deep strike. It's quite a cute little unit, being able to minus OC and charge. The weapons are now AP1, the strength 6 with 4 attacks each on the charge. They do a lot. They do a lot in this detachment. So really nice little trading piece there. 1 unit of scouts. Yep, there's the Sternguard vets that I talked about earlier. Sternguard vets with the Oath change hit way harder than they should. They have Sternguard bolt rifles. Yes, Sternguard bolt rifles. So they hit a little bit harder than they did earlier. With the reroll wounds now, they do like 4 to 5 wounds at long range, like 6 to 7 within rapid fire range. The heavy bolter can really pop off as well. Being damaged 2 with dev wounds could be really nice to help chip things down those reroll wounds if they shoot their oath target. Really interesting little tech pieces here. Again, also have a decent amount of attacks, so with the extra attacks from Liberator and the extra strength, I think one of the captains probably goes with this unit, and then just so they can shoot something and then charge it and actually potentially just kill it. It's a really nice little way of clearing things in multiple phases. They also have grenades, so you can grenade, then shoot them, do extra mortal wounds, charge them, and then just try and wipe the unit. Really cool. Really like that. And then 2 Vindicators, very clean. Again, with Oath, they really like Oath. They're more consistent with Oath. I still am a little bit nervous on them just because, just when you roll poorly, it can really feel punishing. But when you roll high, it feels amazing. So I still think they're very good. 2 op saves, toughness 11, 12 or 13 wounds. Just really good for the points. Just maybe a little bit inconsistent for my liking. And then here, he asks if a Marine player runs a Divergent Codex chapter, e.g. Liberated Assault Group, does not include any data sheets that have a faction keyword other than Adeptus Astartes, does their Oath of a Moment receive the +1 to wound? Yes. So he gets the +1 to wound from Oath because he has nothing in this list that has anything that's not just generic Astartes. I wish Innes all the best. He's also, if you don't know, like if you're watching my channel and you don't know Innes Wilson, I don't understand. He is much more famous than I am. Famous? I'm not even famous at all. He is much more well known than I am. He is part of StatCheck. He does his own professional coaching. He is one of the best players in the world. He is currently ranked #1 in ITC. If he does well at LVO, he will be ITC champion for 2024 or 5. I don't know what year it counts as. I think it must be 2025. So yeah, best of luck to him. Really awesome list. Really cool toolbox list that he has here. It's really awesome. Really like the style of it. It's, again, that toolbook style list where it's like you have a bit of everything to deal with every different kind of matchup. You're not ticked all the way to like, I can really beat the 5 best meta lists right now, but you can fall to some other random lists. You're ticked to like, okay, I'm just decent into everything and let my player skill show me why I'm the best player in the world right now. And this is probably one of the best players in the world right now. So yeah, all the best to him. Go check out StatCheck. They do amazing things. They have a great podcast. Innes does some really good videos on his tournaments. Hopefully he does one for LVO when he's finished. And hopefully won it. And yeah, otherwise let's go to the wrap up. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching all this way. It's been quite a few minutes now. It's been like half an hour or so. Really thank you for watching. Really like these lists. I think they are very interesting and some really cool stuff to watch out for. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded. I ended up moving down to Dunedin about a month ago. My wife had been down here for a couple of months with a new job, and it was about 20 hours drive. When I ended up moving down, I had to do handover at my job for a little bit. So I was like, we were apart for a little bit, but we got back together. I took a month off from doing any videos or anything just to spend some time with my wife and really enjoyed that. And yeah, so back to the video grind now. I really want to get some content out for you guys. I kind of really miss doing it, to be fair. But I got a bit of a setup in the new place now. So hopefully it's only going to get better from here. And see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.